Imagine standing before a building so vast that a man walking straight through it would take 3 minutes. 127 columns, each one 60 feet tall, each one carved from a single block of marble. The roof was covered in tiles of bronze. The sculptors who carved the panels had hands so skilled that the marble seemed to breathe. This was the Temple of Artemis at Ephesus, and for over 700 years, it was the largest building in the known world. It was built in the 6th century before Christ in a city on the coast of what is now Turkey. Ephesus was a Greek city that had become very rich through trade. The citizens wanted to build a temple so grand that people would travel across the world just to see it. They wanted a goddess, Artemis, the virgin huntress, to be honored with the most magnificent house ever built. The architect was a man named Chersiphron. What he designed was almost impossible to construct. The columns had to be brought from quarries that were miles away. They had to be transported on wooden platforms pulled by oxen. The engineering required to position them, to level them, to ensure they would not crack or shift, it pushed the limits of ancient knowledge. The temple stood in the center of the city, on a platform raised above the ground. The interior was decorated with sculptures by the greatest artists of the age. Phidias, who also carved the statue of Zeus at Olympia, may have worked on the decorations. The statues showed the gods and heroes. The panels showed scenes of hunting and battle. Every surface that could be carved was carved. Every surface that could be decorated was decorated. What is remarkable about the Temple of Artemis is not just its size, but that it was rebuilt multiple times. The first temple was built around 550 BC. It was destroyed. A new one was built. That one was destroyed. This happened repeatedly. Fire, invasion, earthquake, the Temple of Artemis seemed cursed by destruction. But each time, the people of Ephesus rebuilt it. The city's identity was so tied to the temple that losing it meant losing something of themselves. The most famous destruction came in 356 BC. A man named Herostratus, desperate to become famous, set fire to the temple. He wanted his name to be remembered forever. The Ephesians did remember his name, but they passed a law that anyone who spoke his name would be put to death. The temple was destroyed, but the law was more famous than the crime. The Ephesians rebuilt the temple, grander than before. For 1,000 years, the temple stood. It was one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, and unlike the other wonders, it was not unusual for its size or elegance or engineering alone. It was a wonder because of what it meant. It was a center of religious worship, yes, but it was also a library, a meeting place, a bank. The priestesses of Artemis held power. The temple held treasure. The city of Ephesus existed around and because of the temple. The decline came in the 4th century AD, when the Roman Emperor Theodosius made Christianity the official religion of the empire. Temples to pagan gods were ordered closed. The Temple of Artemis was stripped of its valuables. The statues were removed. The gold and silver were taken away. And then, slowly, the stone was mined. People needed building materials. The temple had stood for so long that it seemed inexhaustible. They took columns. They took blocks. They used them to build churches, houses, city walls. By the 5th century, the Temple of Artemis was gone. Not a single column remained standing. The site became swampy and overgrown. By the medieval period, the location of the temple had been forgotten. In the 16th century, Ottoman authorities built a fortress on the spot, using stones that had once been part of the wonder. No one alive knew what had stood there. It was not until the 19th century that archaeologists rediscovered the site. A British archaeologist named John Turtlewood spent years searching for the temple. He followed ancient texts, examined old maps, interviewed local people. Finally, In 1869, he found it. He began to excavate. He found fragments of marble. He found pieces of the statues. He found enough to confirm that he had found the greatest temple of the ancient world. The excavations continued for years. Archaeologists uncovered the foundations, the base of the columns, pieces of the sculptures. The British Museum now holds many of them, fragments of Polykleitos and other master sculptors, pieces of the altar, shards of the decoration. You can walk into the museum and see them, the hand of a goddess, the wing of a horse, a bearded god's face in profile. Each piece is a reminder of the magnificence that once stood in Ephesus. What is remarkable is how completely the temple was dismantled. There are no ruins to visit. There is no standing temple that you can walk around and see. The Temple of Artemis is more lost than the Colossus of Rhodes, more destroyed than the Lighthouse of Alexandria. It exists now only in fragments and in the writings of ancient people who saw it and marveled. The city of Ephesus still exists. People still live there. But the temple is gone. And in trying to memorialize it, in collecting its fragments, we are reminded that even the most magnificent human works are temporary. The temple stood for 1,000 years. Theodosius's order closed it forever. Gravity and time and human need eventually erased it from the earth. All that remains is the wonder that people felt when they stood before it. The temple did not fall all at once. It was a process. First, the interior was stripped. The statues were removed and taken away. Some were moved to Constantinople to be used as decoration in the new Christian capital. Some were destroyed. Some were hidden. The gold and silver were taken for the imperial treasury. The bronze roof tiles were melted down for weapons and tools. Then the walls began to be taken apart. Not by explosives or battering rams, but by patient work. Stone by stone, the walls were dismantled. This could take years. But it was worth it because the blocks were already cut, already sized, already proven to be durable. A builder could take a stone from the Temple of Artemis and know exactly how it would fit into a new structure because the temple had been so carefully built. By the 6th century, nothing remained standing. A few foundations. Broken fragments. A swampy, empty space where the greatest temple in the ancient world had stood. A shepherd might use the low walls as shelter for animals. No one remembered what had been there. One more fact stands out: the work of these heroes was not celebrated in their own time. Most of them died without recognition. Most of them were forgotten. It took decades, sometimes centuries, for their stories to be told. For people to understand what they had done. For their sacrifice to be honored. This is why these stories matter. Not because they are famous, but because they were real people who made real choices. They could have looked away. They could have said it was not their problem. They could have saved themselves. But they did not. If you've enjoyed this story, you can subscribe. More like this, next week. Sleep well.